KXXX, Jackson, KNXX, Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers, LA 21-12681, offices in Baton Rouge. Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. It's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Welcome in. It's a Football Friday here in the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios downtown in the capital city. I am Hunt Palmer, Casey Gaines, and Taylor Sharp back there on the ones and twos. Hope everybody's Thanksgiving was awesome. Hope you are not fighting too much traffic and massive humanity out there on a Black Friday. But if you are driving around, whether you're coming back from Thanksgiving or just out and about today on a day off, we appreciate you locking us in here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Had a great Thanksgiving yesterday. Got up this morning and came down from Shreveport, but an awesome day up in the Port City. Got some delicious food. The football was awesome to watch. The Egg Bowl was phenomenal. And there may or may not have been some significant karaoke going on at my parents' house last night that I may have been taking part of. The video's not all that pleasant. Cups were flowing a little bit. But we had a great time. Awesome Thanksgiving. Hope yours was as well. And we got a lot to get to over the next 2 hours here. We're going to get J.D. Pickell of On 3 Sports to come on in the next segment. J.D. joins us every Wednesday. Could not this week, but good enough to join us today. So kind of talk about the weekend to come in college football with JD. Have our NFL tiers at 1:30. I want to talk about the LSU basketball game that you probably didn't watch the other night. There was an interesting call at the end of the game that we'll get to. We'll do that to close out hour number one. SEC gambling picks, last ones of the year. I am way below 500. The record is shot. It cannot be salvaged, but we're going to try to give it one more go at 2 o'clock. We got take it or leave it next hour. And, of course, my final pick for the Saints and 49ers, as well as LSU and A&M, which is where we start. I personally made a pretty big deal the week of the Auburn game talking about how I thought LSU could break the will of the Auburn team and fan base inside that stadium that night on the Plains. They were in a bad way. Penn State had embarrassed them. They didn't play well at all against Missouri. None of it looked good. And Brian Harsin was very likely on his way out. Turns out he was. And I thought, man, if you can get up on these guys 14-0, 17-0, you can break them. They'll lay down. Well, we know what happened. LSU came out. Auburn played great early in the football game, took a big lead. The crowd was there, was present, was fired up, and LSU had a fight on its hands for the entire game. I'm very careful and cautious when I talk about teams laying down or quote-unquote quitting. It very rarely happens. Very rarely. I can think of two instances where I think SEC football teams did not give 100% effort. You go back to 2011 at Ole Miss, Houston Nutt was on his way out. There was no doubt about it. They opened the season with the loss to BYU. They went to Vanderbilt and got crushed 30-7. Georgia got after them. Bama beat them 52-7, and the wheels kind of started coming off. And for the last 3 weeks of that season, I don't believe Ole Miss's team was in it. They played Louisiana Tech and got smoked 27-7. You remember number one, LSU went to Oxford. That's the game where Mettenberger went out the back gate and they ended up taking a knee with like 6 minutes to go in the game. Final score 52-3. And then they went into the Egg Bowl against Mississippi State and lost 31-3. So over the last 3 weeks of the season, Louisiana Tech, LSU, Mississippi State, they scored a total of 13 points. 27-7 loss to Tech, 52-3 to LSU, and 31-3 to Mississippi State. I think they quit. They were bad. I think they quit. And the next year, Auburn, under Gene Chizik, when that was falling apart, I think they mailed it into. You look at that schedule, their last two SEC games, they got outscored by a total of 87-0. Georgia beat them 38-0, and Alabama beat them 49-0. Heck, a couple weeks before that, Johnny Manziel scored 63 on them. I don't think that Auburn team was in it. But I bring up these two examples to highlight that it's rare that it happens. Look at LSU the last couple of years. fired coach, COVID skeleton roster. The 2020 team went to the Swamp and won, beat Ole Miss at the end of the season. Last year they played hard and beat Texas A&M. That's generally what happens. Guys usually play hard, even if coaches are fired or seasons aren't going well. Sometimes you get beat because you're not any good. But guys usually play hard. This A&M situation is a bad one. It is toxic. Their offense has been bad. Their coach is mired in trouble. They're answering questions every week. Buy out this, buy out that. The recruiting class doesn't look great. Like, there are a lot of issues in College Station. But I am not even close to forecasting that A&M will lay down against LSU. In fact, I think it'll be the opposite. I believe that stadium will be full. I think that Saturday was an outlier. You were playing maybe the worst team in the country in UMass. It was at 11 o'clock in the morning. It was cold and raining. I know it was empty. Nobody's going to go to that game. But A&M, we know they're a little different. They're a little bit different. That's what they love about themselves. You all hear the term, from the inside you can't explain it, from the outside you can't understand it. Well, that's for damn sure. I cannot understand the stuff y'all do. But it is a close-knit group and a close-knit university alumni fan-based program. They're very much like Auburn in that way. We saw Auburn turn out for Cadillac Williams in that game against A&M. We saw what that environment was like after a coach had been fired. I expect the same thing tomorrow in Kyle Field. The weather's going to be good. It's a night game. LSU's in town. There will be a great environment inside Kyle. Now, you take control of the football game. I think the air may be a little bit easier to let out than usual. You get up 24-7 in the third. Some people might fall out. They're upset with Jimbo, no doubt about it. They are mad. A lot of people have given up on him. They say he's never going to change. He's not going to be able to fix it. We're stuck with this guy. There's a faction of that fan base that is mad at him, and if things go ugly and they can't move the football on Saturday night, they may bail. But to start that game, it's going to be a hornet's nest. I'm confident in saying that. They don't like LSU. They've got an opportunity, not for anything that's on their plate, but they can wreck it. Same way LSU went to Florida a couple years ago. Nothing on LSU's plate there, but Florida had a chance to get into the playoff that year. Trask was playing unbelievable. He was a Heisman candidate, and LSU had an opportunity to do something about it, and they did. That's what you're going to get effort-wise from A&M on Saturday in Kyle Field. Do not look at what you saw last week and think that's what you're going to see tomorrow. And how could you, as a 19-year-old, as a 20-year-old, not come out of the tunnel with 100,000 people waving towels and get a shot of life going through you? How could you not? Now they start filing out and you're down again, you're getting punched in the mouth. That may change the calculus a little bit, but I think it's going to be a great environment inside Kyle on Saturday. Question is, can A&M play with LSU? And I routed off all those stats on Wednesday's show. I mean, they are staggering in terms of how bad Texas A&M has been against the run. They are one of the best pass defenses statistically in the country. The reason for that is not because they got a bunch of pros running around back there and it's a no-fly zone. It's the fact that nobody tries to throw it because they're running it for 6 yards a carry. A&M worst run defense in the conference. Most 10-plus yard running plays in the conference allowed. Is LSU wired to take advantage of that? That's the question. How healthy is Josh Williams? How healthy is John Emery? Is Kane capable of running downhill? Is it Daniels that's got to do it? The one pause I have about this game has nothing to do with A&M's offense because it stinks on ice. It has everything to do with the fact that LSU is not necessarily wired to just hand the ball off and beat you down. They don't have. If they had, one of these NFL backs that LSU's had over the last 25 years, man, I would feel great about that. If Fournette or Geis were showing up. But LSU's not necessarily built like that. And the offensive line has had its issues at times in short yardage, has had its issues in pass protection at times. Those guys have got to show up and they got to play. They've got to do a great job. If LSU proves early in the game that they can run the football, it's not going to get any better for A&M because they're low on numbers there at the defensive front. They got a bunch of young guys playing. And, man, there's nothing more demoralizing on a football field than when a team just lines up and runs it on you and runs it on it and runs it on you. And that's what teams have done time and time and time again. Ole Miss ran the football 63 times on Texas A&M. 63 carries for 390 yards. Auburn ran it 55 times for 270. Arkansas ran it 54 times for 244. Teams just keep going and going and going and going. That hadn't been LSU's MO this year. We'll see if that's what they try to do. Again, I look at the stats and go, man, best pass defense in the conference. Man, LSU may have some issues kind of exploiting that. I mean, LSU can make some plays one-on-one with these A&M corners. They just haven't had a lot of action because teams are just running it at them. And I gave you this stat on Wednesday. In the SEC games, not Mississippi State, teams are averaging 51 carries for 267 on this defense. That is 5.2 per carry. Big plays, chunk plays, 5 yards a pop. Every which way teams have taken advantage of them. And that's the way you can take the crowd out of it as well. Not much to get up and cheer about if you can take it right to them. That's what LSU's hope will be in this game. Still no huge update from Jimbo on the injury situation. I wouldn't expect that he would have given big-time injury updates. Evan Stewart and Devon Achane are the two absolute keys. If they don't have those two guys, their really only playmaker is Moose Muhammad at that point. Like, they become just him, assuming he doesn't want to put his sleeves on when he can't play. So we got more to dive into with this game. But I think for me, I wanted to start with this is going to be a really good environment. And LSU's going to have to respond to that. They've done it pretty well all year. They're going to have to do it once again. Hopefully it starts a little bit better than the Auburn game did. But, hey, we know what LSU's done in second halves as well. So there's nothing statistically or trend-wise that would point you in the direction of this being a really tough game. It just feels to me like it's going to be. That's just my read on it here as we sit a little bit over 24 hours away from kickoff over in Kyle Field. We'll get you our schedule for tomorrow under the guarantee roof. Of course, kickoff's at 6 o'clock. That means at 1 o'clock p.m. from over at Rouse's on Burbank and Lee, it'll be Charles Handegriff and Matt Musso for Eagle 98.1 Game Day. They will go for 3 hours until 4 o'clock. That's when I'll take over with my team on the LSU Sports Radio Network. That'll be, of course, Brandon Taylor and Marlon Favorite. We'll go from 4 to 5:30. Hand things off to the broadcast team in College Station. They will have the broadcast of the game 30 minutes after it goes final. Me, Brandon, and Marlon for LSU's Fighting Tiger postgame report, and then Eagle 98.1 Game Day back here in the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio with Charles Handegriff 90 minutes after it goes final tomorrow over in Kyle Field. Got our NFL tiers coming up in 15 minutes from right now. Got our SEC gambling picks at the top of hour number 2. JD Pickell of On3 Sports is next on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill. Professional golfers John Peterson and JJ Colleen answer all your golf and life questions inside the new Drop Biscuit Studios podcast for the people. Download or subscribe today at dropbiscuit.com.
Enter now for a chance to win a catch and cook fishing experience from the Louisiana Charter Boat Association with me, Chef Jay Ducote, winner of Beat Bobby Flay. Register now at gocatch.com. That's GEAUX catch.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Revelry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you want and just show up to party. Book your tailgate today at revelryteam.com. Revelry Sports, the official tailgate partner of LSU Athletics.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $11,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% for 72 months on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Bayou.
Jimmy on 10 a.m. to noon every Sunday for Magnolia Bluffs Football Sunday. We recap LSU and college football in the first hour, Rohan Davey, and then preview the NFL with punch of picks from 7 different contributing handicappers. That's Magnolia Bluffs Football Sunday, 10 a.m. to noon, right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The match on the pitch has begun. Stars and Stripes taking on England in the World Cup. Got it on the TV up here. Nothing, as you might expect. They've played 17 minutes. JD Piquel on 3 Sports, usually with us on Wednesdays. Good enough to make some time for us on a Black Friday. JD, you a soccer guy, or are we straight locked in on football?
Gentlemen, I love my country. I love the fact that we're in the World Cup, but when it comes to the fall season, there's only one football that has my attention, but still rooting for the U.S. So, yeah, that's where I fall on the topic, though. How we doing, gentlemen? Appreciate you making some time for me.
We're doing very well. Appreciate you here on a Football Friday. Let's go back to last night. Egg Bowl was electric. That is a perfect football game for me to watch on a Thanksgiving because I don't have to have a certain result. Like, usually there's an Iron Bowl, I want someone's season to get wrecked. I don't care about Mississippi State or Ole Miss. They're not threats. It's just entertaining to watch them hit each other, and it was a fascinating football game last night.
Just the fact that you got Lane Kiffin and Mike Leach coach against each other in a rivalry game. Like, they will write songs about that rivalry however long it lasts, and just a beautiful blend of personalities there. But now, Mississippi State getting it done. I mean, I did not see that coming by any stretch of the imagination. You wonder where Ole Miss was as a psyche, you know, with all this stuff swirling around and around Lane Kiffin. You know, he's going, he's not going. I know he's come out and said, you know, barring something crazy happening, he's not going to be Auburn's next head coach. But, you know, I just, you know, I am still holding my breath on that whole situation until somebody else gets named the head coach if I'm in Oxford, Mississippi.
Who do you think will be the next guy at Auburn? Do you think it's Kiffin?
I think it'll be Hugh Freeze. I think there's been so much smoke around Kiffin, and especially with these coaching searches, like it just feels like more often than not the obvious choice for him that gets floated out the most. In this case, Lane Kiffin rarely ends up being the guy, and I think Hugh Freeze is someone who gets to the SEC, would recruit well, and would kind of fit what I think Auburn is ultimately looking for. Now, I do think he's probably the second choice in regards to wanting Lane Kiffin to be the next head coach. I'm sure that make a lot of people happy down there, but regardless, I think Hugh Freeze would be a good fit, and I think he's going to end up being the next guy down there here sooner rather than later.
JD Piquel from the Hard Count on 3 Sports on YouTube. You can follow him on Twitter at JD Piquel. All right, let's move to the games to come this weekend. A lot of big-time action, a lot of rivalry games in the Southeastern Conference. Let's start with the Iron Bowl. How locked in is Alabama? They rarely play a game this late in the season that doesn't have national championship implications. Really doesn't feel like it does tomorrow, but do you think they lock in and cover the number?
I think so. I mean, it would be very much like this Alabama team to show up and kind of let Auburn hang around. It's a rivalry game, and Auburn, usually gives Alabama a little bit of a game regardless of the situation. But I think just from all of the external noise the team has heard, the duration of the season, and they even messed around with Austin Peay a little bit. I do think Alabama comes out swinging. Also, to keep in mind, y'all, probably going to be the last time we see Bryce Young playing a college football game. I think he's going to leave it all on the field, and I would expect them to make sure they handle business with a lot of these guys likely not playing in the bowl game.
I'm fascinated about tonight's game, Florida State. It's felt like one-sided during the Jameis Winston, Jimbo Fisher years. Florida State kind of owned them. Urban owned the Florida State. This one kind of feels like they're on similar footing. Florida State's a 10-point favorite at home, but I certainly wouldn't be surprised if Florida went in there and won it. How do you handicap that game?
Yeah, I think Florida State wins the game. I don't think they cover that. The whole running element of Florida is something that I'm watching very, very closely. One of the best teams in the country in terms of yards per carry, and that was seemingly non-existent last week at Vanderbilt for a number of reasons. But, I mean, you had Anthony Richardson throw for 400 yards in a loss to Vanderbilt. So I think they probably kind of come back to the bread and butter of, okay, let's feed Johnson, let's feed ETN, let's get AR involved in the zone read game and kind of stay ahead of the sticks. I mean, if they don't, that Florida State defensive line is just ferocious. And also, I think the backbreaker ultimately ends up being what Florida State can do in the pass game. I mean, they got Micah Pittman coming back. They got Johnny Wilson coming back. He's like 9 feet tall. So I think those matchups will ultimately be the difference maker for Florida State. But I do think Florida in rivalry fashion ends up covering that 9.5 number down there in Tallahassee.
Look, LSU knows very well how good that Florida State defensive front is. The Verse kid was a nightmare on that Sunday night in the Superdome. So that's a team that is pretty good and has played pretty well of late. Any reason LSU should be sweating things out over in College Station?
I think in Brian Kelly fashion, they'll kind of keep the main thing. And I wonder where this Texas A&M locker room is at. And that's kind of been the question for us. It feels like the better part of this last month or so. Like, they have nothing to play for, really. So the thought is, okay, is this their Super Bowl? Like, do they just throw the kitchen sink and then some at LSU and find a way to salvage the end of the regular season, going out with the win, get a little bit of momentum into the offseason? Or is it like, hey, half the team's already in the portal, whether they've talked about it or not, this thing is going to just be a domino effect after the clock is 000, and they're not even going to bother showing up and getting out of bed to play this game. So I'd probably lean a little bit more towards the latter if we're trusting our eyes from what we see in College Station. But that's to the same point. I mean, if LSU doesn't come out firing all cylinders and let Texas A&M hang around, that's kind of a risk they could run. But all things considered, I do think LSU wins the game. I think they win pretty comfortably, but should be a good one on the road in College Station.
What do you make of the Ohio State-Michigan game? I love the fact that these two teams have played such high-stakes games the last 2 years. That's what that rivalry is supposed to be.
Oh, it's incredible. I mean, I'm glad you said that. Imagine this game being played 2 to 3 years from now. We're talking about, this game will determine, where each of these guys are seated in the college football playoff. Like, I think that's so lame. But I'm actually, as we speak, making the drive from Dallas, Texas to Columbus, Ohio. Going to be there tomorrow. Nice. I think the biggest variable in this whole game is what can Michigan do if they don't have the ground attack? Because we saw last week in Illinois, Michigan wasn't able to run the ball with Blake Corum out of the game and Donovan Edwards last week. And, their offense really just sputtered. If they don't have Jake Moneyman Booty go 4 for 4 on field goals, we're talking about a completely different Ohio State-Michigan game. So if J.J. McCarthy can finally round into that form that I think they'll need him to be in terms of hitting a few of those vertical shots and making the Ohio State second and third level of that defense, respect that, not just trigger on the run, then I think Michigan can kind of hang around and keep it interesting. But I think it'll be close, but I like Ohio State, just too much firepower, and I think they have very, very, I don't know if fond is the right word, but very, very strong memories of how things ended last year in Ann Arbor, and I think they're looking for a little bit of payback back at their crib this year.
We all know it's a moot point if LSU doesn't take care of business against Texas A&M or Georgia beats LSU, but live in a hypothetical world, if LSU wins those two games, one, do you think they need help to get into the playoff? And two, if so, do you think they get it, whether it's Iowa State, TCU, or Notre Dame and USC?
So I think they get help. I don't think they get help this weekend. I think they get it in the title championship weekend. To answer your question, I do think that they need one of those two teams to lose, whether it's TCU or USC. I think you got to have one of those teams drop the ball to open up a spot for them to get in. Just with that 13th data point being, so crucial in that last week of the season, I think really will end up being a big deal. But if I'm an LSU fan, I would actually place my chips on I guess we'll see how this Texas-Baylor game shakes out and see if it is Texas or Kansas State. But I just would feel very, very concerned if I'm a TCU fan having to beat Kansas State twice. That's a good football team. They were up on you during the regular season, and TCU fashion they came back. I really just can't shake the feeling that TCU is going to drop that game in Dallas. But to answer the first part of that question, I do think they need just one team to crack the door open for them. So the one-loss conference champion, I think it's going to be hard to leapfrog, even in the SEC.
All right, JD, we'll talk to you next week. Enjoy the football. Happy Thanksgiving, man.
Appreciate it, y'all. Happy Thanksgiving.
He is JD Pickell, the host of the Hard Count over at On3 Sports. You can check him out on YouTube or on Twitter at JD Pickell. I've talked to you every single Wednesday as the audience saying these rankings they don't matter yet. They don't matter yet. But we now know the results that we need as far as what help would be. So be locked in on the games tomorrow. And then LSU's got to go take care of business on Kyle Field at 6 o'clock over there in College Station. So appreciate JD for jumping aboard, making some time for us on a Friday instead of on a Wednesday. But on Friday, traditionally, we do go through our NFL tier list to talk you through the NFL slate for Sunday. So we'll do that next on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hold down the middle of the day. This is Hunt and Hill.
Football fans, make this a Thanksgiving to remember with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. When you bet an NFL same-game parlay now through November the 28th, all customers get up to $100 in free bets, win or lose. Just bet an NFL same-game parlay or a same-game parlay plus of at least $20. The bigger you bet, the more you'll get back in free bets. NFL same-game parlays are the perfect way to combine your bets for a chance at a larger payday. Build your own or choose from one of the popular same-game parlays pre-built for you in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. However you want to play, get up $100 free bets, win or lose when you bet an NFL same-game parlay of 4 legs or more. If you're new to FanDuel, sign up with the promo code 1045ESPN and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 and present in Louisiana. Bonus issues is knowledgeable. Free bets expire 7 days after receipt. Max free bet $100. Restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you're somebody who has a gambling problem with help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% for 60 months on new 2022 Ford F-150s. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Light beer shouldn't taste like water. Miller Lite has more taste and only...
Quarterfinals in the Prep Football Playoffs, and we get started Friday night at 6 with Louisiana Prep Preview, presented by the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. Catholic High and Etta Carr kick off at 7, immediately followed by the Lake Urgent Care Total Occupational Medicine Louisiana Prep Scoreboard Show on YouTube, Your View, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
They have played 32 minutes in Qatar, 0-0. See that soccer terminology? Nailed it. USA and England doing battle right now. Looking at some college football scores that are ongoing. Tulane leads Cincinnati 20-17. They are playing very near the end of the third quarter there. And in Austin, Texas 24, Baylor 19 with 2 minutes and 20 seconds to play over in that one. Time for the NFL slate. Look at the games. We rank them by tiers. You know the drill by now. I try to tell you something you may not know about the game. It's a week of mediocre NFL games, I would say. There is one game this week I've got in Tier 4 that is trash. There are no games that I have in Tier 1. It's just a bunch of average football. Of course, we got some good football yesterday. Cowboys looking good in that ball game. But as far as Sunday's slate goes, we'll start with Broncos and Panthers. That is Tier 4. These teams stink. Here's a great stat here, and I apologize, Taylor, if I offend. Since QBR started in 2006, only Jimmy Clausen has had a worse statistical season to this point than Baker Mayfield. One guy has had a worse year than what Baker Mayfield has done this year in Carolina. So the Broncos will head there. We know how bad their offense has been. If they would have just scored 19 points in regulation in every game, they would be 9-1. But they can't score. Their quarterback's a little weird. And it's been a tough go in Broncos country. So I won't be watching Broncos and Panthers. That is Tier 4. Go to Tier 3 now here. A bunch of mediocre games in this slate. Tampa is at the Browns. Since 1990, the only quarterbacks better off of a bye than Tom Brady. Donovan McNabb, John Elway, and Peyton Manning. He has been quite good. Donovan McNabb was 11-1 coming off buys. Pretty impressive run there for McNabb. So Bucks coming off their bye. We'll see if they can take care of business in Cleveland. You're just kind of waiting for Tampa to kick it into gear. I know that I said all August I did not think that would happen. I had questions about this Buccaneers team. It was aging. Some of its great players were out. You figure there's some internal issues on the offensive line, and that's kind of bore itself out. You still just, because it's Brady and we're conditioned to think it's going to click at some point, we'll see what happens as they go to Cleveland. Houston is at Miami. No Miami quarterback other than Dan Marino has had 4 straight games of 3 touchdown passes. Tua has had 3, so he could join Dan Marino there. He's playing really good football. We understand the great move they made to go get Tyreek Hill and how big an impact he's made. Waddle's been very good, but Tua kind of progressing into what we thought he could be has really been the story down there in Miami. So they will very likely take out the Texans coming up on Sunday. Bears are at the Jets. Zach Wilson got benched. The Jets have had 5+ sacks in 3 straight games. The Bears have the worst offensive line in the NFL. Justin Fields runs around a lot, but got to feel like he's going to be under fire all day on Sunday against that Jets pass rush, and the Bears offensive line is just awful. So that's a Tier 3 game. Tier 3 as well. The Falcons are at Washington. The Falcons have not been over 500 this late in the season since 2017. With the win, they would get over 500. This is a team we made fun of all month in August. And we went through that position list. The Falcons were between like 27 and 32 of every position out there. They just said they were terrible across the board. And all of a sudden, they could be over 500 heading to December if they can get a win in Washington. And look, the Commanders playing a little better with Heineke under center. Just go with that guy. Ravens are at Jacksonville. The Ravens have been unbelievable running the football. They are running for 6.1 yards per carry on the road this year. Nobody in the NFL runs for 6 yards a carry. It helps when you got a quarterback back there that can go, and Lamar certainly is that. But their offensive line's been awesome. Doesn't matter who the running back has been. They've used a few. They just run the football. That offensive line is a wagon over there in Baltimore, so they'll be at Jacksonville. Chargers are at the Cardinals. Short week for the Chargers. Since coming back from his suspension, DeAndre Hopkins has been second in the NFL in catches to Devontae Adams. So, if you were listening to this show, Jeremy continued to say how much the Cardinals were missing Nuke Hopkins. Well, that was very much the case because he's come back. They have featured him a ton in that one. So the Chargers will go to Atlanta. The Raiders are in Seattle. We're still in Tier 3 here where just about all the football is. How about this stat? Geno Smith leads the league in completion percentage. Bring your lottery ticket up if you had that one before the season started. The Seahawks were a laughingstock. They quit. They're trading Hall of Famers left and right, cutting guys. And all of a sudden you look up and Geno's playing some ball. They're not terrible. They'll have to win a home game against the Raiders, who have been terrible this year. No mistake about that. And then last one, you would have thought this would have been Tier 1 if I'd have told you this in early September. Instead, it's in Tier 3. The Chiefs will host the Rams. Mahomes, after Week 12 in his NFL starting career, is 19-3. That's the best win percentage after Week 12 since 1966. The Chiefs continue to get better. I think Andy Reid is criminally underrated. I know all those years in Philly, they would get to conference title games and they couldn't cash in. And they played T.O. with a broken leg in the Super Bowl. But his run of consistency in this league is unbelievable. Yeah, McNabb was really good. Yeah, Mahomes is incredible. But Andy Reid is underrated, in my opinion, just how good they always are. And you look at Mahomes' record after Week 12, 19-3 in the regular season. That is something else. So that's all your games in Tier 3. We will now head over to Tier 2, where we'll find a couple. The Bengals are at the Titans. That's a big game. Obviously, we've got a little bit of a rooting interest here in the Bengals. Tennessee's defense has been really good. They have allowed 20 points or less in 7 straight games, which is impressive. They've got Derrick Henry back and healthy. They've kind of found their identity. They weren't very good early in the season, but they certainly have been of late. The Bengals are playing good. Jamar Chase came back to practice this week, so we'll see when they can sprinkle him in and get him involved more. They need Jamar in a big way. There's no question about that. But we'll see when they can get him back. Bengals at Tennessee, where they won that incredible playoff game last year, where they couldn't keep Burrow upright at all, but they did enough, and they got it done before they went to Kansas City and eventually ended up in the Super Bowl, as we all know. And then the last game in Tier 2, still got this one in Tier 2, maybe just because the Packers have that name recognition. Really not very good. They're 4-7, but they are at Philly in this game. Look, this will be a really tough test for Aaron Rodgers. He's going up against an Eagles defense that's tied for first in the NFL in interceptions. We know that C.J. Carter-Johnson has had a big to do with that, and they're second in pass yards allowed per game. And to me, that's really impressive to allow just 178 pass yards per game when they're winning as often as they are. So teams are behind and in general are going to be having to throw the football against this Philly team, and they're still doing that well. The interception number doesn't surprise me. The fact that they are where they are in terms of passing yards allowed per game is impressive. The Eagles are 6.5-point favorites in this game. That's a big line for Aaron Rodgers, but the Packers just haven't shown it this year. They've just shown you nothing. So, look, the Eagles had an ugly loss to Washington in their most recent home game, and that game did go over the total. That's happened in all of Philly's home games this year. So betting, you're going towards Philly, take the over in that one, I would say. That's your NFL tier list here heading into your football Sunday, which will be, of course, locked and loaded. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, excited to see pro hockey coming back to the Raising Cane's River Center this winter. Tickets start at just $10 for the games at Ticketmaster.com and the Raising Cane's River Center box office. Keep listening for your chance to win some from us and sign up to win at 1045ESPN.com. That's your NFL tier list. We come back. You probably have no idea what happened in the LSU basketball game on Wednesday night. I was listening to the guys on the morning show as I was driving down from Shreveport this morning, and T-Bob was like, yeah, I didn't even know they played. That's fine, because, and I would insinuate that they probably won't be back to the Cayman Islands for that tournament anytime soon, considering what happened and considering the fact that it wasn't on television and you had to pay $30 on Flow TV to watch it. I did not do that, but I listened to the call from Chris Blair and John Brady. You want to talk about what happened down there. If you don't know, you won't want to miss it. That's next on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
Reliable Roofing and Construction. Check them out at reliableroofingbr.com. That is the website. Go there to reliableroofingbr.com. Check out all the pictures that they are so proud of. Their great work. Look, when you're getting a roof, you want options for shingles. You want to look at a lot of different types that are going to look the best on your home. You want the highest quality shingles. Reliable Roofing guarantees you that. They also guarantee you a 5-year labor warranty. 5-year labor warranty. And we want to remind you, no job too big or too small. If you just want an inspection because you're not sure what the quality of your roof is right now, let Reliable Roofing Construction come out there and look at it. Maybe you just have a couple of shingles out of place. They can put a few on there. You're good as new. Maybe it's a bigger job. Either way, Reliable Roofing Construction can help you out. No job too big or too small. 5-year labor warranty. Check them out on Instagram at Reliable Roofing LLC. And, of course, go to the website, reliableroofingbr.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $11,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% with 72 months on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Before we begin any electrical work here, we perform a home safety check that begins at your electrical panel to make sure that you and your family are safe. For all your upgrades, installations, and repairs, call Mr. Electric.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana Loyal. Always.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials.
Week 12 in the NFL continues. Our coverage starts Sunday at 10 a.m. with Magnolia Bluffs Football Sunday with Jimmy Ott, immediately followed by the Cleveland Browns and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at noon, right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and Citizens Bank and Trust are in the spirit to rock your holidays with $15,000 in cash. It's our 15K holidays. Head to 1045ESPN.com. Register to win a $15,000 national cash prize or a $1,500 prize locally. 15K holidays is powered by Citizens Bank and Trust and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Hope your Friday is going well. Hope you are not working. Appreciate you hanging out with us either way. Score update from Qatar, 0-0 as they are very near the end of the first half. There's a corner kick from England that is caught by the U.S. goalie, so it appears that they're about to go to halftime and a scoreless tie over in Qatar. So LSU basketball was down in the Caymans, and you probably know they won the first two games. They got to the final and played Kansas State. LSU lost the game against Kansas State, and it was lost in a way that I personally have never seen before. I've been watching a lot of basketball in my day. I have never seen this. Matt McMahon said the same thing after the game was over. So I want to mention the way that the game played out because LSU was certainly at fault for losing the game because they didn't play very well in the second half. They let a double-digit lead get away. But it appeared that they had tied the game when we were going to overtime. Then we found out they were not. Here's how it went down. Kansas State had the ball in a tie game with a 4-second differential between game clock and shot clock. They drove to the bucket. LSU stripped it away, and there was a scrum for the ball late in the shot clock. It popped out. It ended up into Keontae Johnson's hands, and he made about a 12-footer with one on the shot clock. So it went through with 4.7 seconds to play in the game. Kansas State leads. The teams exchanged at that point 4 timeouts to get ready to play the last 4.5 seconds. LSU got the ball in bounds. It ends up in the hands of Trey Hannibal. He knifes down the lane and makes a layup very clearly before the clock expired, going to overtime. Well, I'm listening to Chris Blair and John Brady, and they're saying, I don't know why they're even looking at this. He very clearly got the shot off and made it. We're going to overtime. And then they wave it off, say no. Well, why'd they wave it off? They ruled the clock operator started the clock late. So it took LSU more than the 4.7 seconds it had to finish. Never mind the fact that Trey Hannibal laid it up before the buzzer went off. He's apparently supposed to know that the clock operator screwed up and that the clock's not right, so you need to go more quickly. How he's supposed to know that, I have no idea. That rule doesn't make any sense. Think of this in football terms. What if you snap the ball, you're looking at the play clock, and you snap the ball with 2 seconds on the play clock, and the ref came back and said, wait, they started the play clock late, that's delay a game. Well, snapped it with 2 seconds left. What do you mean? No, delay a game. They started the clock late. That's the clock operator's fault, not the players. An absolutely brutal way for LSU to lose that basketball game. There's some speculation by some, because I do remember in listening to the broadcast that Blair was going, wait, why are the points wrong? It was a 2-point game. LSU scored 2 points. It should be tied. We should be going overtime. There's some speculation that the clock operator hit a point button to give a score as opposed to starting the clock. Either way, the clock operator screwed it up. So Kansas State gets a gift win. Nice execution by LSU. Nice awareness by Trey Hannibal to look at the clock, see how much time's left, finish the play. But they ruled that they started the clock late. I have never seen anything like it. Now, LSU's not without fault here. You had a double-digit lead late in the game, and you couldn't salt the game away because you turned the ball over way too much, and you shot 4 of 10 from the free throw line. That's why you lost, not because the Cayman Islands clock operator doesn't know what they're doing. Because you got to take care of the ball and you got to make free throws. And LSU did not do that. They did defend well. You held a pretty good Kansas State team to 61 points. That should win you most games. But it didn't because LSU only scored 59 in the game. They're going to be a little bit limited on offense. I said on Wednesday going into this game, I said, look, they're going to have to get some contributions from guys that are not KJ Williams and Adam Miller. They've got to get some offensive punch from somebody else. And Mwani's not giving you a ton. Hannibal's not a shooter. Reed hasn't given you a ton offensively. I think his time will come. But they scored 18 points in the second half. That's just bogging down way too much. 41 in the first half's good. Had an 8-point lead at the break. But coming back and scoring 18 in the second half, turning the ball over at the rate you did, not making free throws, that'll get you every single time. So, the Tigers had what I would call a reasonable trip down to the Caymans. I'm just not sure they're going to be back anytime soon. You're telling me that you're going to this tournament and we got clock operators not doing their job, for one, and two, nobody can watch us. How many basketball games were on last week? From Charleston to Maui to Atlantis to Madison Square Garden. Everybody's on TV. The Cayman Islands Classic. Yeah, to find that, you're going to have to dish out $30 to flowhoops.com. I think I'll pass. I don't know that I'm going to be too locked in on flowhoops.com to watch LSU play in a high school gym against Akron. So I think the next time the Cayman Islands calls with their invite, Kent Lowe and his team over there, Matt McMahon, they might go, I think we're good. We're good on the Caymans. We'll go somewhere where they know how to hit a button on time. Just absolutely nuts. So they come back. They got back yesterday. Their next game will be this coming Sunday against Wofford. They'll play UT Arlington next Friday. Then they'll go to Atlanta on the 10th, and that's really the highlight of the non-conference schedule for the basketball team. That's when they'll play Wake Forest in the Holiday Hoops Giving over there in State Farm Arena in Atlanta. North Carolina Central, Winthrop, and East Tennessee State will round out your non-conference schedule, and then it gets nasty in a hurry with the Southeastern Conference. You will open things up with Arkansas, who looked great even at a loss to Creighton. They didn't have their best pure player in that game, but they still played a top 15 Creighton team to the wire in that game. And then you'll go to Rupp Arena, and then at Texas A&M. Texas A&M was a ranked team until they lost a couple games last week, but they're winning a road game right now at DePaul. So no rest for the tired or the weary, if they're tired or weary. But once you get to conference play, the good news is that they've got a pretty manageable early season schedule, and that is a very, very good thing because they're going to need it. Unfortunately, they were unable to get it done against Kansas State. Be sure to check out dropbiscuit.com. Browse our growing library. While you're there, be sure to subscribe to Pops, Fame, You Talking to Me, For the People, Well Stated, or whatever Southern-flavored audio biscuit you may fancy. I am Hunt Palmer. Thanks for hanging out with us here on a Friday, a Black Friday. If you're getting some shopping done, be careful out there. There's a lot of humanity If you missed any of the first hour, you can catch it on demand, 1045ESPN.com's on demand tab. It says my name in there, Hunt Palmer. You can click it. All the stuff is right there. You can also get everything on Apple Podcast, on Spotify, and of course, appreciate y'all hanging out with us on YouTube. If you would, YouTube folks, I would very much appreciate it if y'all could throw us a like. That would mean the world to us. If you're on the Apple Podcast, Spotify world, rate, review, subscribe, all that positive stuff. It helps us out, gets our content in front of more eyeballs and earbuds, so we certainly appreciate it. In the first hour, open things up talking LSU and Texas A&M. I kind of expressed why I think LSU is going to get a game effort from the Aggies tomorrow. I still very much feel that way. J.D. Piquel from On3 Sports was good enough to come on with us on a Friday. He was with us at 1:15. Our NFL tiers at 1:30, and how the Hoops team got screwed at the end of hour number 1. Hour 2 to finish up the week. Got some take it or leave it we got to get to. Our final pick, of course, is coming at you to end the show, but we crank things up after Sports Center with SEC gambling picks. It has been a rough go for your boy on the gambling side of things. 1-6 last week. 3 weeks ago went 1-5. We started out so promising. It's all falling apart, but I've got one more chance to redeem myself. So we're going to get you our SEC gambling picks in a loaded second hour. So come back with us after Sports Center. You're listening to 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I am Juliette, daughter of Marguerite, granddaughter of Gabriel Piera. I come from a line of strong women who knew struggle and success too. Still, I was scared by my breast cancer diagnosis, but I had Blue Cross coverage, which meant I got care from top doctors. I'm strong like my mother, and her mother before her. The right card, the right care.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird, but we can take care of it.
Get in and get better at Patient Plus.
Is SportsCenter.
Good afternoon. I'm Steve Lennox. At the half, U.S. and England scoreless in their Group B match at the World Cup. Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson dealing with a hip injury. He did practice for a second straight day today, expected to play Sunday on the road against Jacksonville. Bills' Von Miller did not suffer a torn ACL during Thursday's win on the road against Detroit. Sources telling ESPN's Adam Schefter Miller could miss a couple of weeks, but there's still a possibility he could be out for the rest of the season. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler on the Bills' thinking with Miller out.
They really believe that their defensive roster, despite missing a piece or two here or there, can always get it done. That without Tre'Davious White, a cornerback for most of the year, they've still been pretty solid on the back end too. So, they believe they built a winner, that can sustain itself without one player.
Jeremy Fowler on Greeny earlier on ESPN Radio. College football on ABC TV. Fourth quarter, number 19 Tulane on the road up 20-17 on number 24 Cincinnati. Tulane's lost 61 straight games against AP-ranked teams on the field.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
1, 2, 3. Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill. Holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. It's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hour 2 here, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. I am Hunt Palmer hanging out with you. Appreciate y'all being with us. Even you YouTubers, we appreciate you. Sometimes you say mean things to me, but that's okay. We'll get through it. You can say really mean things to me about my SEC gambling picks thus far. Last year, I had a winning record. And I got off to a hot start this year. Got all the weeklies. I started off, I went 7-3 in the opener, then went 5-4, then went 6-2. So at that point, I'm sitting there at 18 and 9. That's really good. Then there was a 1-7-1 week in there. And then last week, I was 1-6. That's a tough scene. For the season on these SEC gambling picks, I am 34-43-1. So we are officially 9 games under 500. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the card this week. So we're going to have an under 500 year. But how close can we get to 500? That's really the question. All right, let's get to it. Still got time to get to Arkansas and Missouri. They will play in about 30 minutes up at Columbia. Arkansas is very clearly a different team when KJ Jefferson can play. He was able to play last week, and they just beat the brakes off Ole Miss, who, by the way, is falling apart. That was a pitiful loss last night. But Arkansas with KJ Jefferson is a different team. Missouri is a little bit better maybe than we thought. That game they absolutely flat gave away to Auburn is going to burn for a while. Because if they can't win this game, they will not be going bowling. Which is, I would say, pretty disappointing in year 2 in year 3 under Eli Drinkwitz. But they're 5-6 currently, 2-5 in the league. And they'll kick things off from Memorial Stadium, Faro Field here in 25 minutes. So I've got Missouri and the 7.5 points here. I like the home team. Again, I know that KJ Jefferson makes Arkansas a much better team, and it would not surprise me if they ran Missouri off the field. But Missouri's defense has played well. It's a one-dimensional Arkansas offense, and I think that Missouri can keep this thing as a low-scoring game. I think they can stay inside the 7.5. So give me Missouri in that one. Florida State tonight. That's an interesting one. This game has not been interesting in a long time to me. But you take Florida's loss to Vanderbilt out last week. That was atrocious. They've been a reasonably functional team. They played well in Knoxville. They came back on LSU. We understand how talented Richardson is. And Florida State's been pretty good. They lost 3 straight in the middle of the year to Wake, NC State, and Clemson, but they've rallied to win 4 in a row. Florida State has won 3 straight in this series, coming off of 4 straight wins by Florida State from 13 to 17. I think it's going to be a fascinating game tonight. 10 is the number. That feels big to me in a rivalry game. We talked to J.D. Pickell about that earlier today, and I will take the points in this one here with Florida. It is on the road. They are in Tallahassee. The weather may not be great, but it's going to be an interesting game. I can't wait to sit down and watch that one tonight. Florida and Florida State. Give me the Gators and the 10 points. I will not be watching Georgia Tech and Georgia. Look, Georgia Tech fired Jeff Collins back in September. They're a mess. They have won 2 of 3, though. They beat North Carolina last week. Inexcusable loss for North Carolina there. But Georgia's just vastly superior here. The number's huge. It's 35.5, but I just wouldn't be able to live myself if I bet Georgia Tech against Georgia. They're so much worse at every position. Somebody needs to talk to Jahmyr Gibbs about why he went there. What in the world were you thinking? But this just feels like 53-7. I mean, I would not be able to live with myself if Georgia just boat races them by 50 and I'm on the wrong side of it. So I'll take Georgia. I'll lay the 35.5 and not really worried about it at all. South Carolina, Clemson. This one all of a sudden has a little juice. Clemson's been vulnerable at times this year. South Carolina, I ran and raved last week about how they were a fraud. Their record was propped up. Their non-conference games stunk. They beat some bad teams in league play. They were lucky to beat A&M. They needed a kick return, 17-point lead to start, all this kind of stuff. And then they go out there and they score 9 times on 10 drives against Kentucky and against Tennessee. So what do I know? But I look at the number. 14.5 is the number. Clemson obviously favored at home. I'll take South Carolina. Last week was probably a mirage. Spencer Rattler is probably much closer to the guy that he's been all year, where he's throwing more interceptions than touchdowns, than he was to the freak that took over the game on Saturday. He's probably closer to the other guy, but 14.5 is a lot. All I got to do is lose by 2 touchdowns. Get a backdoor touchdown. Backdoor cover's wide open here. Clemson is a little bit in a beauty pageant, though. And right now, their marks aren't high. So it may benefit them or may behoove them to go out there and try to win this game by 40. I don't think they can, but that may be something they look into. That would get you over the number, but I'll take the 14.5 points in a rivalry game with South Carolina. Louisville at Kentucky. The Wildcats are a 3-point favorite. Now, Louisville's not good, but Kentucky is not either. So, on this one, if it was 4 or 4.5, I might take the points, but 3, Levis's senior day, okay. I think we can win by 3. So, I'll take Kentucky and lay the points at home. The Iron Bowl, 22-point number. I bet against Auburn last week. Said, look, Cadillac got them all revved up to play that game against A&M. They can't replicate that. And Western Kentucky's decent. No. And Western Kentucky was in that game into the fourth quarter, and then Auburn went nuts. So I lost. I was betting against the fact that Auburn could bring emotion another week after what they poured out in that A&M game. And they kind of did. So now they're going to Tuscaloosa. I'll ride with Cadillac one more time. 22, lose by 3 scores. Bayou didn't beat anybody by 3 scores. Can't beat A&M by 3 scores. Can't beat Ole Miss by 3 scores. Can't beat LSU at all. Had to get a jab in there. They don't beat anybody by 22. Seems like a gimme. I'll take it. I'll take it with Auburn, and I'll take the 22 points. And last but certainly not least, this is my final chance to pick a Vandy game correctly. I am 0 for 600 on Vanderbilt games. I simply cannot pick them. Last week, I had Florida covering 27 on them. They lost. The Doors have been my nemesis this year. No one's even a close second. So they're playing Tennessee. Hendon Hooker's out, we know. Tennessee fans had this grand plan. They may still have it. I don't know. I think they're probably a little bit more subdued than they were this time last week after you lost and your quarterback got hurt for the year. But they wanted to checkerboard Vandy Stadium. That's aggressive. A synchronized clothing event in an other team's stadium. The story goes, if y'all have heard me say this a bunch of times, I think, my college roommates are from Memphis. And they've got a lot of good friends that went to school all over the place in the SEC. Ole Miss, Georgia, Bama, LSU, Tennessee, of course. And so Tennessee fans, in their heyday, when they were good, used to literally buy Vanderbilt season tickets just so they could go to the Tennessee game in those years. Buy a whole season ticket pack for like $150 or something. Guarantees you a seat for the game in Nashville. That's the state of Vanderbilt's program. And that's what Tennessee thinks of Vanderbilt. They were going to checkerboard the opposing stadium. Again, I think the air's out of the balloon there. Maybe that's not the case. But either way, 14 is the number. Joe Milton is not good. I am scarred from looking at that game last year against Pitt, where he literally overthrew 3 touchdowns in the first quarter. 3 touchdowns in the first quarter he overshot. Guys running wide open. Got a big arm. Somehow, Josh Heupel decided that he wanted to start that guy over Hendon Hooker. That was a bit of an error. But now he's back because Heupel's out. Because Hooker's out. I'm wrong on Vanderbilt every single stinking week. So we will try one more time in the regular season to get a Vanderbilt game right. I'm taking Tennessee and the bad quarterback because I think I should be on the other side. I'm trying to outsmart myself. I'm going George Costanza. I will do the opposite. I think Vanderbilt's the play. I will do the opposite. I will take Tennessee. So, your final SEC gambling picks as we try to fight and scrap and claw towards 500. Missouri plus the 7.5. Sorry, 3.5. Florida catching 10. Georgia laying 35 and a hook. South Carolina getting 14.5 in Clemson. Kentucky laying 3 against Louisville. Auburn in the Iron Bowl getting 22 points. And Tennessee in Nashville against Vanderbilt. Those are your final SEC gambling picks of the season. All right, we'll take a timeout, come back with a little more LSU A&M. Also talk a little bit about Ohio State and Michigan, as well as TCU and USC and Notre Dame. Take timeout, come back with more. It's Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill.
LWCC is Louisiana Loyal. They elevate and celebrate champions of Louisiana each and every month here on Hunt and Hill. November, we've been telling you about Molly Kimball. Molly's a registered dietitian, nutrition journalist. She founded Eat Fit over there at Auctioner. And if you go to a restaurant, sit down, you see the Eat Fit logo right there on the menu items, that's Molly. She's got 500 partners statewide. Her passion is very obvious. Her passion is helping people live their healthiest and strongest lives. And she understands our unique culinary culture. She's not trying to just throw a chicken breast and some broccoli on a plate and call it Eat Fit. No, she wants the delicious food that we love here in Louisiana, but with ingredients that are nutritional in value. In addition to Eat Fit, Molly works to bridge the gap between the idea of wellness and the real life through other ventures like her weekly podcast and her weekly TV segment on WGNO. If you know someone like Molly or a nonprofit or an entity that's doing great things in Louisiana, go to lwcc.com/champions. lwcc.com/champions. Nominate somebody so we can tell their story right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Molly Kimball, this month's champion of Louisiana, presented by LWCC.
Professional golfers John Peterson and JJ Colleen answer all your golf and life questions inside the new Drop Biscuit Studios podcast for the people. Download or subscribe today at dropbiscuit.com.
We get it done with strength, commitment, dedication, grit.
We get it done with passion for our fans
and love for our community. We are
the Tigers.
Get it done.
Let the values of the purple and gold be in your starting lineup this season. And as always, get it done.
Enter now for a chance to win a catch and cook fishing experience from the Louisiana Charter Boat Association with me, Chef Jay Ducote, winner of Beat Bobby Flay. Register now at gocatch.com. That's GEAUX catch.com.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% for 60 months on new 2022 Ford F-150s. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys.
Matt Moscona from all of us here at AFR wishing you and yours a very happy Thanksgiving. We're taking the holiday off, but we will be back on Friday. We assure you we will be open here on Friday. Ready to talk as we preview LSU and Texas A&M. Happy Thanksgiving from all of us here at AFR.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
0-0, England and USA over in Qatar. Hopefully the morning show guys over at City Slice are having themselves a big old time, and we're on the air this morning from there. Got me from Shreveport to Baton Rouge. Appreciate that for those guys. By the way, England's goalie, I don't know what his name is. I don't know if he's any good. I don't really care about him at all. He's an angry fellow. Every time I look up at the TV, he's yelling at somebody. So, chill out, England goalie. You're doing a pretty good job, though. Nobody scored yet. There'll be a corner kick here for the Stars and Stripes. I don't think soccer play-by-play is in my future. I don't think that's where my calling is, mainly because I don't know a lot of the rules. But there's a corner kick, and we didn't score. So that was the end of my soccer career. I think a lot of people play soccer growing up, and I knew it was time for me to not play soccer anymore when our team, which went down there and played in a tournament in Lafayette, and some kid kicked a corner kick in. He curved it into the goal. I went, wait a second. We're doing what? I'm going to stick to basketball and baseball. I think I'm done with my soccer playing days are long gone. But Stars and Stripes locked up in a 0-0 tie with England, trying to get the result, as they say. LSU will try to get a result in College Station tomorrow with Texas A&M. The reports on Texags, who I think are as plugged in as just about anybody, are that Devon Achane is going to give it a go in this game. He is really good. It's hard for me to believe he's going to be 100%. He was in a walking boot 2 weeks ago, and last week he did dress out, but walking around in pregame, he did not look good. And this is for a guy whose entire game is built on speed and shiftiness. He's a scat back, and when he's unable to cut the way he needs to, I think his effectiveness isn't quite what it needs to be. But he's a hell of a player when he's in there. He's third in the SEC in rushing yards per game at 98.6. He's sixth in the country and leads the SEC with 155 all-purpose yards per game. And you look at a piece to his game that could be an issue for LSU. He holds the fifth spot in the country, and he's second in the SEC with almost 30 yards per kick return. LSU's kick coverage this year has not been good. We know this. This is not breaking news to any of you. But you cannot allow Devon Achane to rip off a 70, 80-yard kick return. Make A&M do it with their offense. Their offense is awful. Do not let them pop a special teams play to shift the game, change the scoreboard, create momentum, create energy in the stadium. That cannot happen. You want to sky kick it? Fine. You want to kick it out of the back of the end zone? Fine. You want to squib it to somebody else? Fine. Don't let them rip off a big return. Make them go 80 yards on your defense with their bad offense out on the field. Cannot have special teams blunders for your LSU in this game. So Achane is kind of a do-it-all for them. Evan Stewart is the other guy who's dealing with concussion protocols. I don't know what the situation is there. This is an interesting spot because guys want to play. This was a long discussion that I had on the air if you were listening back on Wednesday. It's tough to tell guys who were in the weight room at 5:30 a.m. all summer and running 110s when it's 105 out and going to study hall and class and going through camp. Oh, by the way, you're healthy, but let's not push it here. Wait, what? I put in all the work. It's game day. I'm going to go play. That's more often than not what it looks like. But A&M doesn't have anything to play for, and these guys are incredibly talented dudes. So I think you're going to see both of them. The good news for LSU, and this was all the narrative going into UAB, same with Arkansas, Ole Miss, running backs have not had a ton of success against LSU. Outside of Small from Tennessee, LSU's done a really good job. I ran through all the numbers last week of Quinshon Judkins and Trevor Etienne and Rocket Sanders. Like LSU has done a pretty good job of limiting the run game, and that's where A&M wants to start. They want Le'Veon Moss, they want Achane, they want those guys to run the ball. Jimbo's offense is predicated on running success, play action pass, tight ends, that kind of stuff. It's antiquated, it's old, it hasn't worked this year, but that's what he wants to do. If LSU plays up front the way that they've played most of the year, LSU's going to be in good shape. A&M's offensive line has been poor. LSU's defensive line has been really good. If you consistently put Connor Wigman back there in 3rd and 8, 3rd and 11, it's probably not going to go great for Texas A&M. You got Perkins coming off the edge. You got Ojulari coming off the edge. You got Gay coming off the edge. Matt House has done a really good job of that. So that portion of the matchup looks very good for LSU. It's so opposite of what Tennessee wanted to do that it's not applicable. And really, they can't do what Alabama did with Jahmyr Gibbs. Achane on his best day is in Gibbs's class, but I don't know that this is his best day. It seems like a guy who's a little bit gimpy. So the running game is going to tell you most of the story. I opened the show today talking about what A&M has so much trouble with defending, and it's just the run. I routed off the stats on how many times Ole Miss and Bama and Arkansas and Auburn ran the football on these guys. That tells the story on that side. And on the other side, if A&M can't get it going, Wigman's just not in a position to carry the team, I don't think. Now, I will give him his props. For him to have played 3 games and have not thrown an interception, that's impressive. You would think that a freshman, especially playing behind a kind of a porous offensive line, would get antsy and get rid of a ball too quickly and have it turned over. make a poor decision because your mind's sped up, because the pressure's getting to you. He hasn't done that yet. He's been pretty impressive in that regard, but he's not an elite runner, and he can be gotten back there as far as sacks go. But again, on both sides of the football, the running game very likely tells the story in this game. I believe Stewart and A-Chain will play. My final pick for this game is coming up in about 30 minutes from right now, right at 2:54 or so. So about 30 minutes from right now, final pick. Kind of bucked the trend last week, if you remember. We'd been, pretty steady here picking games. We understood that we were just missing on every one. So, hey, if you're missing on every one, might as well pick the other team. It's been working well. Last week with UAB, I said, screw it. That's stupid. We don't have to do that this time. I picked LSU to win the football game. They played really well, and they won it. So, now the ball, I guess, is technically in my court a little bit more with how we're going to handle this game against Texas A&M. The Tigers have got to get their eyes locked in on the Aggies. Tiger fans, we can watch around them, do some scoreboard watching, and certainly LSU fans will be doing that with some games around the country. One of those is Ohio State and Michigan. I think the loser is eliminated from the playoff. I know they're undefeated right now, but I just feel that way, especially if it's Michigan. Michigan simply cannot be rewarded for that non-conference schedule. You cannot show up in September, play a awful Colorado State team, an awful Hawaii team, and a bad UConn team, and then call it a day. And I thought the committee kind of put that out there when they ranked them behind some teams with a loss early on. Like, dude, this is not all that impressive. And you can hang your hat on that Penn State game all you want, but that's pretty much all you got. If they lose this game to Ohio State, I think they're out. And I think there's probably a lot of y'all listening going, well, duh, that's obvious. Well, not everything's obvious to me. Until you see it and it's done, I think it's fair to speculate. But I think if Michigan loses this game, they're toast. That's the one you need. And then some way, somehow, you need to saddle a loss on USC or TCU. I do a weekly radio hit on Wednesdays up in Shreveport, and they're big Notre Dame fans. And I was on, and one of the hosts said, hey, you want me to teach you the Notre Dame fight song for this week? I said, I don't know if I need to learn the fight song, but I'm pulling for you. And that is very rare. I do not like pulling for Notre Dame. No conference. We got our own TV contract. We bow down to us. Make sure whenever we have a meeting, it's the Power 5 commissioners and the chancellor of Notre Dame or the school president of Notre Dame. Make sure when we modify the playoff New Year's Six, it's the top 5 and Notre Dame. I don't like Notre Dame because they feel like they're special. They're not. But I'm pulling for them this week against Southern Cal. You better believe it. Again, a lot of people saying LSU doesn't need any help. I can't make that leap at this point. And I think Ohio State's going to win the game. I think their quarterback's better. I think their skill position players are better. And I don't know what the status of Blake Corum is. I don't know how ready he is to roll. So this is a rivalry game. It's a revenge game. Ohio State got straight punched in the teeth last year in this game. That's got to stand for something. It's got to mean something. But I'm just glad it means something. We'll talk in the next segment about whether or not it's the best rivalry in the country. But I'm just glad the game means something. It's going to be very, very fascinating, and we'll see. It's going to be a crazy environment in the shoe. You missed our guy J.D. Piquel in the first hour. He was talking about how he is he's on the way up there, leaving Dallas and headed to Columbus to check that one out. That's a bucket lister for a lot of people to see that game either in the Big House or the Shoe. It'll be a huge one, just like it was last year, and just like it was in 2007 when Ohio State and Michigan get together tomorrow. It'll be the big noon kickoff on Fox. Let's go Buckeyes. Knock those Wolverines right on out of this thing. All right, we got 2 segments left here in our Football Friday. We will do some Take It or Leave It coming up next, and then we'll finish things out with a final pick. We're talking about the Saints and the 49ers. We're talking about Tigers and Aggies. Don't go anywhere. It's 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
One Bath and Closets. Telling you about One Bath and Closets every single day here on Hunt and Hill. David Duvall and his crew have been in the game for 3 decades. If you're looking at your home and you're thinking, man, I could really use a bigger, better bathroom, David Duvall and his crew can do it. Maybe it's as simple as a tub-to-shower conversion. You see those tubs that you've got if you don't ever take a bath. You put a gorgeous walk-in shower right there. It's not a time-consuming project. It's not they're not going to be in your house for 6 months. It'll be pretty quick over there at One Bath and Closet, and I can promise you this. They're not going to come back 3 weeks later and fix something because they did it wrong the first time. They'll do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. And on the closet side of things, start the process with a questionnaire, understand what you've got, what you need, and they put together a customized solution for it. Don't believe me? Go to the testimonials on onebathandclosets.com. Testimonials are right there with the great work that David Duvall and his crew have done. And I got a deal for you. Love deals. It's Black Friday. 30% off your closet renovation remodel if you tell them Hunt and Hill sent you. 30% off at One Bath and Closets. Check out the website. It shows a lot of their great work. The website is onebathandclosets.com.
Our listeners fire up their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
They said I was small, weak, said my heart wasn't strong enough. But I showed them what heart looked like, again and again and again. Mom got me the right care, the right doctors with Blue Cross coverage. Don't let people tell you who you are. Show them the right card, the right care.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to
Jimmy on 10 a.m. to noon every Sunday for Magnolia Bluffs Football Sunday. We recap LSU and college football in the first hour, Rohan Davey, and then preview the NFL with punch of picks from 7 different contributing handicappers. That's Magnolia Bluffs Football Sunday, 10 a.m. to noon, right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Counting down the end of a work week. Been a short work week for most of us. Got a couple of days off the back end of the week. Hopefully you're off today and having a great one. on Black Friday. Certainly appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Matt Moscona is going to be with you from 3 to 6 on After Further Review. He'll toss things to Cade Wassan, Louisiana Prep preview, some Catholic High football in the playoffs, and then Louisiana Prep scoreboard with you on a football Friday until midnight, recapping Louisiana high school football scene. If you're a high schooler, you got a game this evening, go get them. Only get to do it once. Love a little high school football late in the calendar. All right. We'll have our final pick coming up here in about 20 minutes. But for right now, let's play some Take It or Leave It, Taylor Sharp.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, Tulane in a New Year's Six bowl. Take it or leave it.
It could happen. The Wave just got a big win. Their first win over a ranked opponent in 62 tries. They go to Cincinnati and win 27-24. Now, that's Cincinnati's first American loss. Wave ranked 19th? They could.
Well, don't they say the 62nd time is a charm?
Well, Tulane, yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to lose 61 straight to anybody in anything. Like 61 in a row. Show up and get one, which they did. So shout out to the Green Wave for that big win. Coach Willie Friends and company goes to Cincinnati and gets a big dub. So I'll leave it. I don't think they're going to go, but they could. We'll just have to see.
So Auburn and Alabama play tomorrow.
Yeah.
The Iron Bowl, the best rivalry in sports. Take it or leave it.
You take it.
I'll
Here's
take
why.
it.
Because it's in your day-to-day lives. People will say that Ohio State and Michigan is a bigger rivalry. This is my pushback to that. If you go to work in Detroit or a family reunion in Grand Rapids, Michigan, how many Ohio State fans are there? I'm not suggesting there are no Ohio State fans in the state of Michigan or vice versa. Surely some people graduated from Michigan and they work in Cleveland now. But it's far less. You're basically insulated with your own fan base. You go to family Thanksgiving in Alabama, you may have the other team at your table. I personally am related to someone who's a twin. One twin loves Auburn, one twin loves Alabama. That doesn't happen in Ohio State, Michigan. And the other thing about it is Duke and Carolina basketball. Carolina, I've always said this, can lose to Duke 3 times and win the national championship in a year. You can lose both regular seasons and lose in Greensboro, and you still can win the national championship. You lose the Iron Bowl, your season's probably cooked. It is. I mean, we know poison in trees and, all that stuff that goes on. That's a little ridiculous. But, man, it's so heated. It's so hated. It's the only game in town. There's no pro team. Best rivalry in all of sports is the Iron Bowl to me. But personally, I really, as I said earlier, love watching the Egg Bowl on Christmas Eve. On Thanksgiving. It's a perfect game. The Iron Bowl usually has some national championship implications. So, I really am invested in who wins it. I want the team that has those aspirations to lose. But the Egg Bowl never does. It's just, it's pure entertainment. I put it this way. This may be a little bit arrogant. But this is, when I'm watching the Egg Bowl, I feel like, metaphorically, the 29-year-old brother who's married with 2 kids and has a great job, watching the mistake twins that mom and dad had 15 years later that are 14 years old fight in the front yard. They're just the little kid. It's just, I love the Egg Bowl, but the Iron Bowl is the best rivalry in sports.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, lastly, Black Friday shopping, take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave that. You're not getting me out in that traffic to deal with it. I know a lot of shopping's done online now. But those people that are looking for that cheaper TV that are up there at 4 o'clock in the morning and they're out all day, that's great for you. I'm not going to do it. You're not going to find me at a bunch of retail shops on Black Friday, angling, rubbing elbows, trying to get the best deal. That's not going to happen. I don't have to buy that many Christmas presents. I'll get 1, 2 for my wife, maybe a couple for mom and dad. I don't have a long list, so we're not going to spend too much time on Black Friday shopping. We got a bunch more. Get after it.
Bill Self was cleared in his return to Fog Allen Arena following his 2-game suspension. Cheering cheaters, take it or leave it.
I'm going to take it.
I'll take it.
Look, if I defend Will Wade to the end of the earth, I can't then go dump on Bill Self there. I thought it was very, very funny to watch the national sports writers react to Kansas winning the national championship last year. There's a little bit of a holier-than-thou sense for a lot of those people. But yeah, I think it's funny. I mean, look, clearly nobody in Lawrence, Kansas cares that they're on FBI wiretaps talking about offering players money. Like, nobody is offended by that whatsoever. And so, yeah, I would expect them to cheer the guy who won a national championship. They imposed a couple of game suspension. He's back in action, and off Kansas goes.
Fake Christmas trees, take it or leave it.
I gotta leave this. I'm a real tree guy. Yeah, cleaning up those dead. What is it called? It's not leaves, but like,
pine needles.
Yeah, the needles. Picking up the dead needles on the 27th or the 30th or whatever after it's been sitting there for a month is a tough scene a little bit, but you got to have the real tree. I don't want the fake tree with the spray that smells like Christmas tree. You just got to go with the real tree. We're going to have a whole day tomorrow. We'll decorate the tree, although we can only decorate the top half of the tree because we got a cat who's out of control and now a child that's crawling, so we can't have too much stuff on the bottom of the tree. We're going to get the tree tomorrow. We're going to cook a gumbo. On Sunday, cook gumbo, play the Christmas music, probably watch Elf or something. It's going to be a tradition for us. That's good. The real tree has got to be the way to go.
Tiger Woods and his son Charlie are officially entering the father-son tournament next week in Florida. Team Woods will win it. Take it or leave it.
They were really close last year. The Dailies beat them. I'll take it. They've got a little bit of an advantage because Charlie's a year older. He gets to play from the up tees, and he's good. So getting to play from a lot closer is a big benefit. When he gets a good tee shot, Tiger didn't have to tee off. The Twitter world went nuts watching this last year because Charlie was just knocking it stone dead time and time again in that tournament. But John Daly and Little John got it done. Hopefully, Little John doesn't go out and tie one on before the tournament. He did that before SEC Nation when they went to when they went to Fayetteville. He was supposed to join his dad, and he was a little too hungover to go, so he did not make that one. Hopefully, Little John doesn't do that again. And maybe they'll defend their title. But yeah, I'll take Charlie and Tiger. Charlie gets to play from the up tees. It's good stuff.
I hope the Dailies win. Just because Little John looks exactly like John Daly, and it's hilarious.
He's got a good golf swing.
Sources are indicating Nebraska is honing in on Matt Rule to be its next head coach. Matt Rule will save Nebraska. Take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave it. Look, Nebraska is a fascinating case because you understand what they were. And they're not anymore. And that's really difficult for them to take. But the fact of the matter is that if you do a good job at Nebraska, you can get yourself into a lot of really big games because that division is awful. Iowa's going to win it this year. They're the worst offensive team in the nation. They're going to win the division. The West has Iowa, Purdue, Illinois, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Nebraska, and Northwestern. There's not a single great football program in that division. Michigan's on the other side. Ohio State's on the other side. Penn State's on the other side. So you can win that division if you can get it figured out. The problem is they had some good coaches there, and they keep running them off for going 9-3. Now, that wasn't the case with Scott Frost. He couldn't win anything. But you ran Pelini out of town. You ran Frank Solich out of town. You're not going to go 12-0 there anymore. Recruiting's too difficult, but they got a passionate fan base. They've got some tradition. They've got a group that cares. They've got some money. You just got to go recruit and get players there. There's no reason Nebraska can't be as good as Iowa. There's no reason Nebraska can't be as good as Wisconsin. They're not going to be as good as Ohio State, and if Michigan's cooking, they're not going to be that good. But they don't have to be because they're not in that division. So, look, Matt Rule's a hell of a football coach. If he can win the places he's been at Temple and Baylor when they were at the bottom of the food chain, he ought to be able to field a competitive program at Nebraska where, let's be honest, all you got to do is really beat Wisconsin, and you should win your division. 5-3, Iowa's going to win that division. They're awful. So I'll leave it. He's going to save Nebraska football, but he can do some good things there. God, Iowa's just, they're so bad. They're good on defense, but they can't score a lick. Speaking of not being able to score, soccer's on. USA and England still 0-0. They have played 85 minutes. So somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 to 8 minutes left to play in that game. It sounds like for the Team USA, it's just going to come down to whether or not they can beat Iran, who won a game against Wales earlier this morning, which did LSU. I keep saying LSU did USA a favor. So USA, certainly, if they could win this game, that would be huge. But if they can get a win over Iran coming up, that would be a good thing for the Stars and Stripes. The guys, T-Bob and Jake, are over there at City Slice watching this where they broadcasted from this morning. Let me get you set up for Saturday before we go to break, and then we come back for our final pick. We'll do Saints and 49ers as well as LSU and Texas A&M. 6 o'clock kickoff for LSU and A&M tomorrow. That means at 1 o'clock, 5 hours before kickoff, 1 o'clock, Charles Handegriff and Matt Musso will have Eagle 98.1 game day. They will be at Rouse's, Burbank, and Lee. They'll be on for 3 hours from 1 to 4. 4 o'clock, I take over on the LSU Sports Radio Network. Brandon Taylor, Marlon Favorite, myself, for 90 minutes. We go from 4 to 5:30. That's when we toss things to College Station. We'll throw things to Gordy Rush, Doug Morrow, and the voice of the Tigers, Chris Blair. They'll have the call of the game. That thing will go final. For 30 minutes after it goes final, we'll be on the Fighting Tiger postgame report for an hour, taking your Twitter interaction and reacting to LSU and Texas A&M. And then 90 minutes after it goes final, Charles Handegriff right here in the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio with Eagle 98.1 game day, taking your phone calls and reacting to the day in college football. So we start 5 hours before kickoff, and we'll be with you until the early morning hours, very likely, of Sunday. That's your LSU game day schedule. We will come back after this timeout, and we will make our final picks on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Ford. Check out that inventory, BayouFord.com. They got a great search bar right there. It's such a functional website. It updates daily as inventory comes in and as it moves out. Got your awesome specials there as well. You can choose your vehicle. They've got your Mustangs. They've got your Broncos. They've got your Explorer. I've loved my Explorers over time. My dad's had the same Expedition for 24 years. Same one. Picked me up and I was in 6th grade, and he's still driving it. We've been a Ford family, and Bayou Ford certainly can help you out with all that on the website. Every single new purchase comes with a 1,000,000-mile powertrain warranty. A 1,000,000-mile powertrain warranty from our guys down there at Bayou Ford. They can customize the vehicle, have it turned around in 60 to 90 days, or just head on over to the lot and check one out for yourself. BayouFord.com is the website. Bayou Ford, they're going to do right by you.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
As a community bank, B1 Bank invests in relationships with the people and businesses we proudly represent. Our B1 bankers are here to help simplify the complicated, understand your needs, and make managing your finances easier. At B1 Bank, we offer an array of solutions to help simplify your transaction needs. B1 Bank, one highly personal banking experience. Visit us online at b1bank.com for more information.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with
quarterfinals in the Prep Football Playoffs, and we get started Friday night at 6 with Louisiana Prep Preview, presented by the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. Catholic High and Ed-A-Car kick off at 7, immediately followed by the Lake Urgent Care Total Occupational Medicine Louisiana Prep Scoreboard Show on YouTube, Your View, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Well, they've been running around on the soccer field, or the pitch, as they would have you call it. Nobody scored. So they have about 4 more minutes of action to go over in Qatar. USA 0, England 0. But that's the way things go. Stars and Stripes got a draw against Wales. They're looking towards a draw here against the English. And they'll have Iran coming up to finish up group play. This looks like a little set piece here. I know my soccer. A little set piece here for the English. Fans going nuts. See, they're praying, it appears. We'll see if the Stars and Stripes can fight them off on defense. I was a defender back in my day, played sweeper. Had no idea what I was doing. Not a clue. Had to hang up the boots, as they call it in soccer. They have all that. I hate when Americans use the soccer terminology. Oh, man. England almost scored. They did not, though. All right. It's time to wrap up a show here. Remind you that Matt's coming up from 3 to 6 on After Further Review. Cade Wassan will take over at 6 o'clock for Louisiana Prep Preview. He will have you for 45 minutes, and they'll go to Catholic High football, some playoff action, and then they will be back after the football goes final for Louisiana Prep Scoreboard, recapping all the high school football action until midnight. Cade and his cast of thousands do an awesome job with that, so stick around for the rest of Football Friday here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. For now, time for our final pick.
New Orleans Saints. The San Francisco 49ers. Final pick.
Man, 49ers have a great roster. And Jimmy G's been pretty good. Deebo Samuel coming back. Christian McCaffrey now more involved. They're scary, and they are a factor in the NFC for sure. We had Luke Johnson on Wednesday, and he said, look, that's my pick to come out of the NFC. And right now, that would be a pretty good pick. And the NFC is loaded with some mediocre football. We just think the Eagles are good. The Cowboys are playing much better. Vikings have been pretty good this year, but 49ers have as good a shot, I think, as anybody. Dalton was great last week. Really played well. As efficient a game as he's had in his career. They got Taysom Hill involved. They got to do more of that. I just think dealing with that front from the 49ers that is so good and is as good as anybody in the league against the run is going to be a serious problem for the Saints. I think they're going to get beat up front with that offensive line that's still banged up. And I don't think it's going to go so hot for the black and gold. I picked against them last week, and hey, they played a great football game and got a win. But this ain't last week. This is a road trip out west to play a team that's really playing good football. Has won 3 games in a row. I got the 49ers winning this thing by a final score of 30-17. I think that they're too much for the black and gold. So let's go to Saturday night's game in Kyle Field.
3rd and 15. Calzada pressured again. Escapes it. Clock at 2, and he goes down. 1 timeout left for A&M. LSU rushes the field. And Ed Ogeron out of La Rose, Louisiana will go out a winner.
They don't have the wins that they wanted, but all they need is one, and that's to beat LSU. So we'll have to prepare very well and perform well on Saturday against this football team.
And the Texas A&M Aggies.
How sweet would it be for them if they could build to this kind of Super Bowl? This is their bowl game. Like, this is A&M's bowl game. And end up tripping up LSU.
Now, here's Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill's final pick.
Look, A&M, as they're currently constructed, is quite literally the worst football team in the Southeastern Conference. The worst. They have the worst record. Statistically, they're the worst run defense. They're awful. But I think they're going to come to fight tomorrow. I don't think they're going to quit. I think that place is going to be loud. I think the environment's going to be great in Kyle. LSU's just got to come out and take care of their business. You got to run the football. I don't care if it's Williams, if it's Emery, hang on to the ball. If it's Kane, if it's Daniels, you got to run the ball, make plays when they're there. A&M's offense has not been able to do anything, especially without A-Chain or without Stewart. I think both those guys are going to play. Wigman's got some ability. He was good in his first start, but hasn't been great since because they can't block. And I think that's where LSU's got to take control of the football game up front with their defensive line. If you can win and stop A-Chain in that running game, stop Moss in that running game, A&M's not built to throw the football and make plays down the field. Now, if you've been listening to this show, you know what we've been doing here. And I bucked that trend last week. Kind of been saying, well, we'll get everyone wrong. We got to pick against them. Things will go well. I got off that with UAB. I picked LSU to win, and they took care of business. But I cannot, in good conscience, sit there in this chair in Southeastern Conference play and put any kind of kibosh on my boys. I can't do it. We just got to get this thing done, and then you turn all your eyes to Atlanta. You've had a successful season if you get this thing done. My final score from Kyle Field, Texas A&M 66, LSU 4. Got to do it. If we lose this game, I will be in actual tears in the post-game show. Come on, Tigers, go to Kyle Field and get it done. Matt's next on After Further Review. Have a great weekend.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can